All right, so here is my makeshift table, and I've got a little thing that I built to put my camera on. Oh, there's my car. And I've got a crazy table with stuff going on. I've got some home projects going on too. But look, just because you don't have a lot of space doesn't mean that you can't do art. So I'm going to put my phone up here so that hopefully you can still see. And this is just like our setup in the art room, right? We've still got space, we've still got materials, hopefully, and we're going to get started with a few things that you can make your sketchbook. So on the art bingo page, it asked you to maybe put some art things together. And so here's some art things that I have together. And like I said, just because you're not in the art room, hopefully doesn't mean that you don't have some art things at home. So I've got some pencils, some markers, some pens, some glues and some glue sticks, a pair of scissors, a little bit of tape, and a little bit of yarn down in there. And that yarn's going to come in handy later. And some crayons. And if you don't have all of those things, then ask your parents, ask a grandparent, and if not, ask your art teacher. So I'm going to stick that up in my garage for a second. There we go. And we're going to start by showing you a couple ways that you can have a sketchbook. And your sketchbook is always handy for when you want to do any kind of drawing. So this could be if you're just looking out your window. It could be if you're riding in the car. And definitely, since a lot of us are stuck at home right now, it would be super handy when you're just plain bored. Okay, so a couple ways that you can make sketchbooks are just with a notebook. So if you've got an extra notebook, or even if you have one that has been used, but it's still kind of holding together pretty well, you can do drawings on other pieces of paper. Take your glue, stick it in. You might have to cut it out a little bit around the edges. So that's one option. If the lines don't bother you, you can just use this as a sketchbook. But I want to show you a way that you can make some sketches on a couple pieces of paper. And this is just printer paper. I grabbed a couple sheets, and I've even got a colored sheet or two in there, which might be really nice for a cover. So I'm just going to grab a couple of these. Now, the two ways that I'm thinking of, and maybe you have some other ways too, are to fold it like we normally do. You know, if you were in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, that we take the bigger paper, we put the construction paper on the bottom, we make like a little stack, and we fold it, squish squash, and you tie it with a piece of yarn. Okay, that is one way. If you don't remember, you open it back up to the middle, you put your piece of yarn down the middle, you bring it back up and you tie it. This is a great way if you want to be able to put more paper in. And some of you who have already run out of paper this year, you know that we're able to put in more paper that way. But what if that's not really appealing to you? Well, there's another way that you can do it too. You can staple it. You can staple the book like that. The thing that I don't like about when you staple it like that, is you really can't open it back up flat like that. Another thing that you can do is you can hole punch it if you've got a hole puncher. And 3 hole punches work just fine as long as you're really only punching just one little area. So I'm going to give a hole punch at the top and a hole punch at the bottom. And some people like to do it this way, where they punch this way. And again, you can't really open it up very well. So I like to punch it right through the middle. Also, when you're folding it and punching it, it's harder to punch because you're punching through all those sheets of paper, not just once like that. Okay, so I'm going to grab some yarn from my box. There we go. And a pair of scissors. If you don't have yarn at your house, believe it or not, a twist tie from a bread bag will work just fine. So you're going to take the yarn, stick it through, wiggle, wiggle, and you're going to tie it in a knot. Crisscross, like you're tying your shoes, loop it through, pull down, and you're going to do it twice. Once, 1, 2, 3. And you're going to do the same with the top. And you might have seen that my papers went a little bit wonky, so you've got to get them back. There we go. And if you need help, ask an adult. 1, 2, 3. Do it again. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now this can still open really nice and flat.